Ukraine's counteroffensive is winning back hard-fought territory and some key villages. But this is the hard truth of the war in eastern Ukraine. Wretched fighting from small trenches, few gains and high casualties on both sides. We hit them, they hit us, says this Ukrainian soldier. There are a lot of them, he says, too many. My fear, says this Ukrainian, is that Russians will get to my home. That is the reality. The Russian military still controls much of eastern Ukraine. The Russian troops extend all the way to the border with Belarus, but 1,000 kilometers of front lines are in Ukrainian territory. The Ukrainian counteroffensive hoped to punch through and cut off Russian supply lines. But the Russians are dug in. There are many lines of defense with tank trenches and minefields, and the Ukrainian gains in blue have been limited. And there are few signs that this grinding standoff will soon change.
The Russian strategy would appear to be to sit on the defensive, wear the Ukrainians out, and then over time convince them that this is futile. And also, I think perhaps strategically, perhaps more important, is also to convince Western states that this is futile.
The international community must not allow Russia to get away with this land grab.
At the UN, Western allies, one after another, pledged to maintain support for Ukraine.
If Russia stops fighting, there will be no war. If Ukraine stops fighting, there will be no Ukraine.
But Poland has said it will not send any more weapons to Ukraine over a grain dispute. And voices raising questions about financing Ukraine are growing louder in Washington.
We're very concerned about accountability.
If Ukraine doesn't make progress over the next, say, 6 to 12 months, I think there's going to be additional pressure in the Western world.
The Ukrainians are counting on new weapons and fighter planes to turn the tide. But Russia has announced that it's increasing its military spending too.
And it could go on for years and years and years. It's a matter of political will. At some point, political objectives need to come into line with military realities.
For now, the military reality is that Russia and Ukraine both have sufficient resources to fight on. Eric Sorensen, Global News, Toronto.